Hey guys, in this video we're going to be covering sheetrock backers. We're going to be talking about walls, sheetrock backers in corners, and in the ceiling. So it gets a little bit complicated on like tray ends and stuff. So let's get into it. So when we're talking about sheetrock backers, we're talking about planes. And by plane, I mean when there's a bunch of boards in a line, and if you set something on it, they're all in a line. So this is a plane of the wall here. So at the ends of the planes, you should have a board that the sheetrock hits. Here we got a little bit of a crown stud, so we're about a 1/4 inch off of it. But right here, when the drywallers hang their sheet here, they have something to screw to. Now this is the whole goal of sheetrock backers, is that at the end of the plane, they have something to screw to. If you can understand that one concept, you've understood all of sheetrock backers. So right here, we have the truss flush with the wall, and we kind of have a tray going on here, which means the ceiling goes up into a box. So this end, all these boards were added for sheetrock backers. Now it seems obvious, but it's easily missed. The way to put these in is to put a level here, and if you don't have a board at the end of the level in the corners or on the outside corner, that means that you need to add a sheetrock backer there. So for this one, we got a sheetrock backer coming up this ceiling line here, level with the bottom of the trusses. Then we got a sheetrock backer going up, level with these heels. And then we got another one on the ceiling here, level with these trusses here. Now, we also had to add some backers in this truss right here, because when they put their sheetrock on this wall coming up, they need something to screw to there. So you're not just looking at one plane here, you're looking at where two planes meet. This can be tricky to see when the board isn't there, but the trick is to hold a level on it and make sure that at the end, in the corner, there's a backer there. After a while, you should be able to pick this up without a level just by looking at it. So right here, we got another sheetrock backer running up this. Now, there's one missing here. See if you can see where it is before I put the level on it. But this is why they get tricky, because you think you got everything done, and then you're missing one. So we got one that needs to go right across here, so that when they put their sheet up here, they have something to nail to or screw to on this corner right here. So we're gonna have to put a board on the side of this truss, butt it into here, put some toenails in, maybe a block to nail it on better. So for walls, we usually build a partition block, which is this U block here. There's a stud behind this stud, and then there's a sheetrock backer on each side. Now we usually do that when we're laying out plates. We put those in there so the wall gets built with the sheetrock backers. So check out our video about laying out plates to see how we do that. But sometimes things get missed. Like right here, we needed an L. So we're gonna have to put a backer in here. If this space between the last stud and the corner is less than 5 inches, you technically don't need a sheetrock backer. We usually put one in anyway if it's less than 5 inches, just so it's easier for the drywallers. They know they have something to screw to. If it's about 3 inches, we'll probably leave it out. So this sheetrock backer right here was an L that we put in the exterior wall. We already put this in when we built it. The reason we did an L is so that they can still insulate behind it. But in this scenario, we only have about 1/2 inch or 3/4, so we're gonna have to add another board here. Ideally, you want 1.5 inches for your sheetrock backer, just so the drywallers don't have to cut their sheets perfectly. Sometimes we'll do about 1 inch. We shoot for 1 inch or more. That's why we're gonna add a piece to this one. So moving back to the ceiling here, you can see this is a gable truss on the gable end of the house. We already got our 2x6 up there so we could nail our gable to it, and it doubles as a sheetrock backer on these gable ends. And then on this height change right here, you can see we nailed a board that acts as our sheetrock backer for where the walls change height. So they'll sheetrock right across into that backer there and then continue on the ceiling. So on interior walls, we have walls running perpendicular to the trusses and parallel to the trusses. When they're running perpendicular, you don't need a sheetrock backer here because they're putting the sheet up this way and screwing in on the trusses. But when they're running parallel, we need a sheetrock backer on both sides. So right here, this wall is running parallel. So when they slam their sheet into this wall here, they need a backer to screw to. If this gap between the truss and the wall is less than 5 inches, you don't need a backer. Some people do more than that, but that's our rule. If it's 5 inches or less here, you don't need to put a backer. Now, this is just a 2x6 centered on that 2x4 wall and nailed down on top of the studs. Now, if you do your sheetrock backers this way, you have to really make sure this 2x6 is centered because we want at least an inch on each side and it just barely gets you there. This is probably the fastest way to put sheetrock backers in, is to put a 2x6 centered and nail on top of the studs. I usually do 2 nails and then 1 nail and then 2 nails, alternating all the way down. There's not a lot of force on this board here, but it does tie in the walls to the ceiling after they sheetrock it. So you can see here that these trusses are basically touching this wall the whole way. This is about a 1/16 gap, this is about an 1/18 inch gap. Now these roof trusses are crowned when they're made. So sometimes you get a bigger gap here if your floor is out of level or if your concrete's a little out of level. This gap can get very big. If this gap is 5/16 or less, you can nail your 2x6 on top of the wall. If this gap is 3/8 or more, then we're gonna have to hang our sheetrock backers from these trusses. We'll show you how we do that. So let's say this gap was 3/8 right here because something didn't line up and their trusses are sitting above our double top plate. So we don't need a sheetrock backer here still because it's perpendicular to the trusses. But let's say we had a wall right here running parallel to the trusses. We would put 2 26-inch boards. We want these about every 4 feet running down the wall. And we'd nail them to the truss bottom cord like that, down into it. Then we would take another board running the length of the parallel wall and put it up to those boards. That keeps the plane of the sheetrock backer in line with the trusses. Then we would screw down, just 1 screw in each board is fine, every 4 feet into this board. The screws keep it from ever pulling out over time. So some crews do this on every single wall just because it's hanging from the trusses and it's connected to the trusses. But we only do this method if the gap between the truss bottom cord and the top plate of our wall is 3/8 or more. That's just so that the sheetrock doesn't dive down into the corners ever. 5/16, you can't ever notice it. 3/8 and up, it starts to get a little annoying for the sheetrock guys and for people looking at it. We do the same thing on floor trusses. So right here you can see there's a 3/8 gap between this floor truss and the top of the wall. So we hung this little backer right here from 2 blocks. When you're doing it on floor trusses, you just lay that 2x4 on its flat. Here's another example of the sheetrock backer hung from the trusses. We just got a little gap between our top plate and the bottom of the trusses. And that's why we hung it. Okay, so going back to wall backers, right here we have a doorway next to this corner. Now we always try and throw in a stud here as a backer, just because if these king and jacks are a little bit different width, and they only have these 2 boards to screw to this close to the corner, it can kick that piece of drywall. If we have a doorway this close to a corner, we'll throw in a stud there so they have something to screw to pull that in. Now, this is a closet, and over here in this corner, we have a 4-inch gap. Normally that'd be fine. We'd put it in because it's a 3-inch gap, but because this is a closet, most likely they're gonna be screwing a shelving bracket in this corner. So we want to make sure and have a sheetrock backer in the corner, every corner of the closets. So we got our sheetrock backer in at the edge of this staircase, right in this corner. They can screw to this truss here as well with their sheet. But when they wrap their sheet around this corner here, we want them to be able to screw right on the end of this wall. So we're going to have to add a few blocks here so they have something to screw to. Here's another example of a wall ending as a stub wall. So they have sheetrock backers on each side of it, but when they're coming around this face, you want them to have a place to screw right at the end of the wall. That's why we put this little block in here, so that when they wrap this, they can attach it, hard fasten it right at the end of this wall. So up above me here is a good example of where we don't need a sheetrock backer. This wall is running parallel to these trusses, but since this gap is less than 5 inches, the sheetrock can support itself. Here's an example of a sheetrock backer that gets missed. This is on our garage door perimeter that our garage door rails screw to. So when we added this board after the fact, we needed to add a little backer here so they can screw their drywall around this piece. So that's how you install sheetrock backers. Always be thinking about the plane of the wall, where planes intersect, specifically on inside and outside corners of the ceiling and the walls. If you can't see it, use a level or imagine a level is up there, and that will help show you where to put your sheetrock backers. When you're nailing your 2x6s down on top of your 2x4 walls, make sure you're nailing on top of the studs, just like your double top plate. That's so that the trades that come after us don't hit nails and ruin their drill bits. And if that gap between the trusses and the top of the wall is bigger than 5/16, make sure to hang your sheetrock backers from the trusses so that it stays in the same plane and doesn't curve down. Next, we're gonna be nailing these walls plumb, just so they're supported every 4 feet. When we attach these walls to the trusses, we wanna make sure that they're straight up and down so it's easy to install doors. So check that video out. And if you guys got any value out of this video, subscribe to the channel because we're doing a video about every skill it takes to frame a house.